Hey, this is Jenny, kicking off the new year with Every Day is a New Day podcast. This is the first Every Day is a New Day podcast of 2025. It's a beautiful day here in Edgefield, South Carolina, and there is snow on the ground, which I did not think I would ever see. I didn't think I would live through a hurricane, but we did that last year. So now I'm not quite sure what God has in store, weather-wise for us. But as we kick off a new year, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about a few things on my heart. I just prayed a little bit, and the two things that came up for me, one is around leaps of faith, and another is about hearing the voice of God. So that is where we'll start today. So, in terms of leaps of faith, as some of you may know, about 2 weeks ago, I had my last day at my corporate job. I worked in many, many top IT companies over the course of 30 years in various leadership positions, and I've exited that to more fully embrace, I'll call them my purpose, um, gifts of entrepreneurship, and also other areas that I feel God is calling me to work in. And I want to talk about that. And I want to first share with you a quote that I came across that I have at my desk and I've read many, many times. It's printed out in this little sheet of paper, kind of like a giant fortune cookie insert in a fortune cookie. So it says, "Let them see my heart. Let them see what I want to do in and through them. I want them to know that those dreams I put in them were for a purpose. It was not placed there by mistake. It was not in error, but divinely orchestrated." So I feel peace and edified and encouraged every time I read this. And a little bit about me, I have always had a bit of a spirit of entrepreneurship. My mom was a Mary Kay consultant, and my very first memory of her is sitting next to her while she is unboxing all these pink boxes. So it's one of my favorite colors and one of my favorite memories. It's one of my favorite products. But as I got into corporate life, I certainly attended every kind of party like that that I possibly could. Candle parties, other kinds of parties, scrapbooking, stamping. So when there was lots of young ladies in the office, these at-home parties. Gosh, there was one called Tastefully Simple. So you got to eat and try Pampered Chef. So many times I saw myself in the front of the room. I'm a leader, so I would see myself giving that presentation. Undoubtedly, I would sign up for the kit and then I would freeze when it came time to make your list of 100 people or what have you and keep going. So I just wanted to say, along my life, this entrepreneurship has come out. My dad used to daydream with our family when we were young about if we were going to have a family business, what kinds of businesses would we have? And actually, in my own work of establishing what my dreams are and doing my daydreaming, I once had a responsibility or a task to list 100 dreams. And once all the material things were out of the way, I started to think about a town called Teeters Town. And our last name's Teeters, so that's why it's Teeters Town. We call ourselves Team Teeters, Steve, Cordelia, Arabella, and myself. And Arabella loves books, so I thought, okay, in Teeters Town, there would be a bookstore, but also for sustainability, she'd have a library, and maybe used books could be for sale as well. And then Cordelia is very much into fashion and cosmetics, and I thought she could have her own boutique. And then for sustainability, she'd have like Goodwill or some kind of a consignment used clothing store. So we just keep the cycle of the products moving through. And then we love Pete's coffee. So I thought, oh, we can have Teet's coffee. And then on the menu could be like little things that each of us really likes to have the way we like our coffees. And we could name it something really fun. And then myself, I thought I would be mayor. I'd be mayor of Cheaterstown with my whole family working. So you can see my mindset of leadership and entrepreneurship. It runs deep and it runs fun. But and I have an executive MBA, so I learned all about business. I've been in the business world, but a dream I've had is really starting my own business. And over the last couple of years, I have started my own business. I started a business actually when I was out of work for a while before I found recovery. So I have had clients over the years, but for the most part, my main focus and main source of income was corporate life. So I've just left that to really fully embrace entrepreneurship. And one of the things I'm doing, is really allowing much of my time to a nonprofit that I am extremely passionate about called Catholic in Recovery. So I've taken a role as director of operations, kind of on a part-time basis, which leaves a lot of room because I've been juggling so many things at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have some extra hours and what do I want to do? So going back to how we even got here today. So a couple of years ago, when our family first moved from California to South Carolina, um, there's a lot of humidity in the summertime. We moved in June. So it's getting into the month of July, and I couldn't sleep one night, probably because it was so hot. And I was scrolling on social media, and I came across this webinar that was available any hour of the day. So I watched it called Employee to Entrepreneur. And the thing is about that particular webinar, how it was constructed it was by somebody like me. It was constructed by somebody who worked in a corporate environment and really wanted to be working for herself. And her program that she was selling was a how to get there. So not only did I, in my business mind, find that to be like a plausible strategic plan that could be executed, I liked what she had to offer. But the thing that really struck me is that I couldn't sleep that night. My heart was pounding. My thoughts were racing. I was so excited with this idea. But my personality then is I wanted it right now. I mean, if I could have had it that moment, I would have been, extremely happy. So instant gratification and impatience are two things I fight against. And but I had the desire, and with that kind of a reaction, that response did not go away. Like I had always had this underlying current of entrepreneurship and wanting to be my own boss and wanting to create and see what kind of product or service I could bring to light and bring in customers and just enjoy the process, experience the process. And I have done that a little bit, but I just didn't have enough hours in the day to fully devote to something along those lines. So let me read this to you once more. Let them see my heart. Let them see what I want to do in and through them. I want them to know that those dreams I put in them were for a purpose. It was not placed there by mistake. It was not an error, but divinely orchestrated. So in my prayer time, as I, over my prayer and spiritual life, have really searched and yearned to listen more to the Lord, to hear, to be still, to meditate. It has brought so much fruit, but it also has brought clarity as my time on earth is limited. And these desires are put here for a reason. And once I turned 50, I was like, oh my gosh, how much time do I have left to fulfill all of these things? But one thing about that impatience a couple of years ago, I remember being downstairs in the house that we were renting in our first house when we got to South Carolina. We rented this beautiful furnished place. And I was just so working in this new job and I was corporate job and I was just in distress almost at wanting so badly to be in a future state and not really taking every day and enjoying the day. I was spending so much time, almost in angst at what I knew I wanted, and it was so far away. I couldn't see when that was going to happen. And that day, I was like physically tense. I didn't know I was, but you know how sometimes when you're tense and your shoulders are like right there up around your ears, and if somebody like a loved one, let's say a friend or family member, comes up and just does a little massaging on the back of your shoulders, and you melt, like you just have goosebumps all over your body. There I was alone in this house, and what I heard, I was by myself in the quiet. What I heard in my mind was, Jenny, you're going to have everything that you want. everything you desire, you are going to have. And it was the most encouraging assurance. I relaxed and I thought, okay, how can I open this timeline up instead of wanting to be somewhere right now to to thinking through, to creating a plan, to getting the help I needed. There were some certifications I wanted to achieve. There's some education. There are some people I wanted to talk to, mentorship I needed, some coaching I needed in order to actually make my move from an employee to an entrepreneur. So I've made that leap of faith, crossed that threshold, and I think I can help others, not with necessarily becoming an entrepreneur, but as a coach, what I have learned is it's my job to see, uh, kind of help see my client where they may not see themselves and help with what that process is and help when those fearful obstacles come, but also to help hear the voice of the Lord who is telling us, let us see his heart. Let us see what he wants to do in us and through us. He wants us to know that those dreams he put in us were for a purpose. And he wants us to know that it was not placed there by mistake. It's not an error, it's divinely orchestrated. So, those are the things I wanted to share today, just for a, um, a bit of information on where I'm at. Happy New Year. I believe 8% of us who made New Year's resolutions actually stick with them. So, that leaves a whole lot of us who maybe made resolutions and have not. So if you need any help with those desires that are in your heart, I would love for you to go to jennyteeters.com and you can book a call with me. You'll also see my coaching programs. You can sign up for my newsletter. I've got journal prompts. I have a meditation. These are all things designed to look inside of us. And if you were to make a list of 100 dreams, what would that be? And I encourage you, make a list of 100 dreams. Let's make that your assignment for today, because somewhere around dream 70, 71, 72, 73, when security, when financial things and material things and kind of experiences are out of the way, you know, that's the place where you get to the heart of things. So, mayor of Teeterstown may or may not happen for me, but employee to entrepreneur certainly did. So I want to say I'm here for you. And congratulations on making it another year, another day. Those of you doing dry January, it is January 23rd. So great job. And anyone who thought they would do dry January and somewhere around the 5th or the 6th or the first Friday, I say, hey, what about dry February? It may not be a thing, but you can always pick up and try again. So every day is day one. Every day I hear is a new day. Every day is a new day. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you next week.